Hey, this is Cone McCaslin from Sum 41, and you're listening to the Johnny and Shaner Punk Rock Dadcast.
It's March 13th, Season 2, Episode 7. We have the usual suspects. I'm Johnny Zero, and Shaner McCauley joins us hailing from Oshawa, Ontario. Welcome to the Punk Rock Dadcast. We are not exclusive to dads, moms, or those who can or cannot procreate, or choose not to. We're just two dads who love punk. I love how, inclusive I'm trying to be there, and it's, overly. I just feel like I have to cover everybody there.
We got to.
But we're
Yeah,
here
no.
to talk about punk. Local, unlocal, old, new, large, and small. No rules, no holds barred. Being a punk show, listener discretion is fucking advised. Thank you for wasting your time with us. Thank you to Threads of Society for our merch. Email us at punkrockdadcast@gmail.com. We may or may not get back to you.
But I always will.
And today on the show we have...
We got, not for once, I'm super excited about this one because it's not local and it's Jacques from Screaming at Traffic. Welcome to the show.
Hey guys, thanks for having me on. Excited to be here.
I'm just going to laugh through this whole thing because we've finally fucking done this.
It's okay. So
All right, I'm going to bed.
We talked about, what'd you say? 4 years ago today was the mark of COVID.
Yes, we started off the first original interview by...
Right after, I guess it was shortly after your first album came out, eh?
Yeah. We had released I Don't Like Sports, which was our first full-length record through Little Rocket Records, based out of the UK. And we were just right in the midst. We had done it in June, so we were right in the midst of doing a bunch of touring and stuff and building up. At that point, we had done a bunch of 2-3 week tours. We had done a 6 week coast to coast tour of Canada. For 2020, we were booked for Pooza Fest. We had a 6 week tour booked across the states that we were gearing up to announce. We had some dates that we were booking in Germany and stuff. We were on tour when everything shut down. We had gotten 3 dates into a Western run. It was March. We were gearing up to do a show with the Real Mackenzies. The day we had this Real Mackenzie show booked, and we got the news right the night before that they had canceled, and then we got actually reached out to by our label and our publicist at the time, Melanie Kay, and they were just yo, it's time to pack up and go home. So we kind of wrapped the tour 3 dates in of a 2-weeker, and then just headed home as quick as we could because none of us knew what was going on. We didn't know what state of emergency at the time meant. We didn't really understand, I guess, what lockdown was at the time. We were just knew at that point it was time to go home. So
sorry, who did you say Melanie Kay was there?
Melanie Kay was our publicist during I Don't Like Sports. She's based out of Toronto. She's done some work with Fat Wreck.
Fat Records. Okay, I know Melanie Kay from Ontario Punk Day. She was my Fat Wreck rep.
Yeah. Melanie, yeah. She was great to work with. We met her a couple times when we played Toronto. Had a blast working with her and stuff. And yeah,
she's fantastic. I didn't know that's what she was doing now. She's amazing.
Yeah. She's doing PR, and yeah, she worked our first record with Little Rocket Records.
Oh, that's fantastic.
That was also 4 years ago.
Yes, 4 years ago.
Yeah, I know. But I've known Melanie Kay since 2001, I would say, is when I worked with her.
Yeah, she's worked with some of the greats like Fat Wreck, Laura Jane Grace.
Yeah,
all sorts of really cool folks.
That's where I used to get all my fat shit from, all the shit in my basement, all those fucking CDs that take up space. But yeah. So now we were talking, you kind of really realized that this pandemic was serious when you said all the sports, the major leagues were getting shut down too.
Yeah, that was kind of the clue in to realize. I think I mentioned before, well, in the previous, that I kind of unplug a little bit during tour. Like I really just am really focused because I tour manage for the band as well. So I'm often really focused on just making sure like socials are up, promotions are up, like what's going on at the next gig, making sure we get to where we need to go on time, make sure we get paid, all that fun stuff. So that's really what I was like locked into. And then kind of the realization of getting kind of a bunch of shows canceled and then having our publicist and label reach out and then looking online and realizing like the NHL and the NBA were shutting down and those are massive income for people and to have something with that much money in it shut down kind of clued us into like how serious it was. So
Oh yeah, all the TV
well, and not
sponsorships.
not to mention like the WHO and like the World Health Organization and all that stuff. Like when that Sunday or whatever it was, when I was kind of like looking into everything, it kind of dawned on us all, I think, how serious everything was, and like had maybe the first inklings of how crazy the next few years was going to be.
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone will kind of remember almost to the, I guess it was kind of day to day for some, but I mean, I remember that day at work when I was being told to go home. I think at this point though, it was kind of like a 2 week lockdown for now all the
Yeah,
time. But
You've
yeah,
been
like
working at home ever since then, and I think you
I
still have a desk there, don't you?
I do, but I think it's been taken over. But yeah, I've been working from home for 4 years now.
yeah, same. It was
Yeah.
nuts too, just because like because we had so much stuff kind of lined up for 2020. Like I was saying, we had like this 6 week tour in the States. This is all like to promote our first record, I Don't Like Sports. Um, and just watching all this stuff, we were like, okay, we're going home now. And then watching the next tour cancel. We had like a big show with this band Pairs and Single Mothers that we were going to play in between the tour and us like taking off for the Pooza Fest in May and then doing that 6 week jaunt through the States. I just like watching these things cancel kind of like every couple weeks. We got new info that like the next thing was not going to happen and the next thing was not going to happen. And we were kind of looking at it like event by event and piece by piece until it was done. And then by the time it was done, we were like, okay, well, we can't really plan for anything because we don't know when this is going to be over, right?
Right.
Uh, it was like the day after we got back from that tour that it was canceled, I got our like visa slips for the States in the mail, which was just I think I still have them kicking around somewhere just because they're the most expensive pieces of paper, useless pieces of paper I think I've ever gotten in my life.
For those young kids who are thinking about touring in bands, in 2020, what did that end up costing a band like yours? And how many
For
people? There's 4 people, right?
yeah,
You
for
have
the
to get
people,
one for like each person, or is it like a group as a whole?
it was kind of it's kind of a mix of both. It's like we kind of went under it as Screaming at Traffic. We had like an initial payment to make and then a payment per extra member. We weren't taking a crew out or anything like that. But it was, close to a couple grand US
Holy.
all said and done for like the processing fees. You got to pay a fee to like Homeland Security. All of it's non-refundable. Um, and that's just for the application, right? It's actually wild because they just announced that they're increasing that price again, now that we're out of the pandemic, which is wild and super rough for Canadian bands because I know US bands do not have the same kind of like stuff to come into Canada to play, but I mean, that's a whole other can of worms.
Yeah, really. I know there's a band Judgment we had on briefly at Convergence, and their main goal is to only tour in the US, really. That's where they think the fans come from.
Well, touring the US is like handy, right? Because like in Winnipeg, we have this unique. So I'm calling in from Winnipeg for those who don't know,
Yes.
and we have this unique kind of. It's a double-edged sword because we're right smack dab in the middle of the country, so we can kind of go either way, east or west, and like. But the other side of it is how long those drives are. It takes us at least 6 or 8 hours to get to Regina, Saskatoon, going west. And then it takes us like 24 hours to get to the GTA. Once you're there, that's fantastic. But like there is quite a bit of, cost getting there and stuff like that. Whether you're flying, renting vehicle, if you have a vehicle like we do, we just drive. So going into the States where, 8 hours south is Minneapolis, and then every couple hours you can hit like a major city from here to New York.
Yeah.
Oh, and you're not really running into the same kind of drive lengths that you're doing in Canada.
Right. The cost per night decreases when you have, fewer nights between each show.
Yeah, and just the amount of people that are in the States comparatively.
Yeah, I mean those options seem a little more easier to go.
Accessible.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you know what I
yeah.
mean? But that brings me to, what we were talking about before is we were talking Laura Jane Grace coming through doing a cross Canada tour, and last time she stopped in Winnipeg.
Yeah.
Um, we were wondering if she was stopping by again.
I don't think she's stopping through Winnipeg this time around, but lucky for us, she happens to be one of the headliners for Pouzza Festival in Montreal this year, which we are actually going to be playing in May, which is fantastic. Pouzza is like one of the biggest, if not the biggest right now, punk rock festival in Canada. So super stoked to be on that lineup and on a poster with Laura Jane Grace.
Nice.
Awesome, very cool. Yeah, I was listening to Cone's Cave the other day, and Cone actually interviewed. I mean, he normally does punk rock interviews, but he was interviewing Sam Roberts. I guess he's good
Oh, yeah.
buds with Sam, and talking about the Montreal scene and how like just in general the music scene in Montreal seems to be like almost like the capital music scene for Canada now. It's just booming, and everyone seems to be going to Montreal to make music. I was reading an article in the paper the other day too about the hip hop scene there. It's just exploding.
Yeah.
And I know the punk scene. For me, I mean, as long as the late '90s, I feel like, especially the ska scene has been booming in Montreal, Quebec.
Yeah, I mean they've got like Stomp out of there with the Planet Smashers, K-Man and the 45s. Like they've got a great scene for whatever you're looking for, right? Hip hop,
Absolutely. Yeah. So yeah, that's awesome that you guys are on there and you're on the poster with Laura Jane Grace. You guys are gonna kill that show. I know that. That's gonna be great publicity for you guys. Um yeah, you guys are talking about the tour with in Winnipeg. It's far to drive. When you're out in doing Montreal, you planning on stopping anywhere else on the way, or?
Yeah, we're just waiting on confirmation to officially announce and stuff like that. But we do have a couple dates that we're going to be touring out towards Pouzza around May, which is going to be when our second album actually is going to be coming out. So that'll line up really nice to be able to, take this new record on the road.
That's awesome. And the new album, how many tracks?
We're going with the classic 10.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. What's that? 44 minutes or so? 43, 38?
Something like that. And
Yeah, something
I
like
don't have the number in front of me, but it's a good like just over a half an hour of music. I just think back also to like a lot of the records that I love of like more modern bands and stuff. And I feel like
Power,
that,
power.
yeah, that 10,
Yeah.
11 minute or 10, 11 track, half hour to 45-minute kind of length is just the sweet spot, I find.
Absolutely. No one does hidden tracks anymore, eh? When you have to fast forward like 45 minutes at the end.
It's because everything's
Yeah,
fucking
I mean-
digital now, and you have to select each track on their own.
Yeah,
Or
it's difficult.
Spotify for some reason.
Yeah,
What's your
yeah.
favorite format of music? You're a record collector, ain't you?
Yeah. I gotta say, I definitely love records. Like I love listening to vinyl. Obviously, like having Spotify and stuff like that is super handy as
You guys
just a
have vinyl?
consumer. We do have vinyl. Our first record, I Don't Like Sports, was pressed on vinyl. I think we actually still even have some copies still available that you can buy through our Bandcamp. Screaming at Traffic music.bandcamp.com. Also, if you're looking for us like anywhere else, Screaming at Traffic Music, one word, is basically how you find us on Instagram, Facebook, and everything like that.
You
Yeah,
had
we
to
have
put
we have a
music.
couple-
You had to put music at the end of that. Somebody already had screamingattraffic.com.
Yeah, I guess so.
Fuck. That's
No
hilarious.
shit, eh?
What's on that website?
I imagine just blogs about traffic that people
Really?
love about people just bitching about the 401 and Toronto stuff like that.
Oh, I
The,
bet.
the same guy that bought yelling at clouds, old man yelling at clouds.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, speaking of old man yelling at clouds, my name is Thrill House or whatever. YBF, you want to talk about that?
Yeah, you bet.
Yeah.
We get this question all the time because we
YBF for our listeners, YBF is the second track off I Don't Like Sports.
yeah. YBF we get a lot. So we kind of like subscribe to this like naming convention where we found ourselves at one point kind of like trying to name songs and not being very creative with them, just being like, okay, this is the song or this is the word that appears the most times in the song, so that's going to be the title of the song. We wanted to be like a little bit more creative, or I guess a little bit up our own ass about it, and we started like using inside jokes and stuff like that. So YBF, we had like two answers that we would tell people all the time. One was a fake answer, and that fake answer we had like a list of stuff that YBF could stand for. You'll be fine. Uh, what was the other one? Yellow Biafra fucker or something like that.
I don't like that.
Yeah.
Uh, so we just like every time people would ask, we came up with this different answer, and it was kind of, I don't know, just to amuse ourselves, I guess. Which is, I mean, why we do half of the stuff we do. But really, the actual story behind it is I was asking Stefan, our drummer, for a ride to practice one day, and he meant to like send me a YouTube clip, I think from like the Boondocks or something, of somebody being like, "Yeah, boy," and he
Yeah.
found this nature documentary thing entitled "Yeah, Boy, Frog," that somebody had taken like a nature documentary, and it was like David Attenborough or something like that, being like, here we see the African Sahara frog, and here's its cry. And then somebody had dubbed over the like whatever sound it made, and it just went, yeah, boy. We thought it was so funny, and we didn't have a title for the song at the time.
For our producers, we should really edit in a clip of that over here.
I was gonna mention that. Don't you worry.
Oh, it is very easy to find. Just look "Yeah Boy Frog" up on YouTube, and you'll find it.
There we
And
go.
we just didn't have a name for the song. And then by the time we got to the studio, we used YB Yeah Boy Frog as a placeholder. And our producer Jordan Voth was like, what's the name of the song? And we were like, fuck, we can't call it Yeah Boy Frog. I guess just call it YBF, and we'll just make up some shit as we go. So that is how it's immortalized forever, just off of
That's awesome.
stupid inside joke.
And yeah, and
Love
you
it.
have a lot of people asking you about YBFA.
Yeah. People are often curious what it stands for, and
Yeah.
you know, like 4 years later, I wish I had a deeper philosophical answer, but it's "Yeah Boy Frog" off of a stupid YouTube clip that we found by accident.
Shane, I'm gonna have a new segment called "What's in Your Cup," and I'm gonna make like a little song about it because I notice a lot of our guests are drinking while we're drinking.
Oh yeah.
So what is that? Straight vodka?
No. After we got off the last time, I poured myself gin and soda water,
All right.
and so that's what I've been enjoying.
So that's not just a straight cup of water. Getting hydrated before bed.
Yeah,
What time are you going to bed?
probably pretty late. I
What's
tend to
that?
be
What time
I
is it over there?
here. It's like 9:45.
Okay, so it's like
Yeah.
10:45 right now over here. My phone just died. All my batteries are dead. I'm drinking a Jaeger bomb, and on the other side, I have a beer, and Shane's drinking a Dr. Pepper.
Yeah. Hey,
What's
Dr.
in your cup?
Dr. Pepper's got all those red flavors.
All right. So we talked about lyric or not lyrics. Oh yeah, I guess songwriting. Songwriting between you and Duncan from compared to the new album compared to the old album. Does it stay the same? Who does majority of it? How do
Yeah,
you guys split the duties?
so for those of you who are listening and might not know us, we are like a two-singer band. We do like kind of a dueling back and forth vocal thing. And our songwriting's pretty much stayed the same. Usually Duncan or myself will Duncan's the other singer. We'll come to the band with like a very bare bones lyrics, maybe a couple chord progressions, maybe a verse or a chorus or something like that. Then we'll bring it to the band, and then as practice, we'll kind of like pick it apart as a group. Like Paul and Stefan will kind of get their hands on it, kind of change some parts around, maybe be like, oh, this thing's repeating too often, so like maybe let's try something like this, or have we tried this chord progression instead, I think would be cooler. So it really ends up like it just starts with like the ideas of me and Duncan, and then kind of gets really, really collaborative or collaborative as we kind of finish up the song and like kind of pick at it away until it becomes what it is, which I think is a really great, honestly, way of writing, just because, if you have like, this isn't always the case, but I find that like if it keeps things interesting, we have like a uniform sound that things are recognizable as Screaming at Traffic because of this. But like we're always bringing something new, and I'd like to think that we don't get very repetitive with it, just because there's so many like kind of people kind of putting their opinion or their style or whatever. Right? Typically, if you're looking at like listening to our records, whoever is singing the song is usually the one who came up with like the kind of idea. So if you hear me singing, it's usually me who brought like kind of the bare bones, or it's Duncan.
This is
and then
my song. You're not allowed to sing it.
yeah, yeah. Well, like it's always interesting. We like kind of doing the back and forth and like being more on the gang vocals and taking the lead guitar
Yeah.
when the guys doing it.
Mine's
And
a little
like
bit different.
it's weird.
Fortunately, all of those guys recognize that I'm the better singer, and and they just bring them all to me. They're like, "Can you sing this so that I don't have to?"
Yeah, it's also actually
But they're all
that's
great fucking songwriters. They're
yeah,
all
yeah.
great.
It's an interesting point though too. Like I find that like when at least in my situation, like I can't speak for Duncan or anything like that, but like when I write this stuff, because it's like very personal to me, I'll picture, and like the delivery of it is very like, I guess, heartfelt, for
Yeah.
lack of a better term. And I always find it hard to like capture that same emotion when I'm singing somebody else's songs, right? I know, like obviously I'm like open to like
I
people
can feel that. Yeah.
lyrics, but
Yeah.
I like leaving, the songs that Duncan wrote are obviously like personal to him, or the lyrics he wrote are personal to him. So I think having him sing it is like kind of the best delivery of that, right? Because he knows what he was talking about when he sang it.
Right.
Of course.
And
Is there any family element in your band? Are you related to any of the other band members?
uh not in through blood. I'm actually Duncan's actually my brother-in-law.
Okay.
Oh,
Just a
cool.
fun fact.
I did
So
not know that.
yeah, I'm married to his sister.
I don't know why I
Oh.
felt that between the whole last 40-minute conversation we had in this one, but for some reason I felt like they were related somehow.
Huh.
Yeah.
Weird.
That's a fun fact. Is yeah, Duncan's my brother-in-law.
Interesting.
We've known everybody in the band. We've known each other a long time. We've played music together in like different bands and like
Yeah.
growing up. And
How
I
long
think
has Screaming at Traffic been together?
we started this kind of like as we are as Screaming at Traffic in 2017.
Okay.
We got together, me, Duncan, and Paul, who, like I mentioned, is Paul's the bass player, Duncan's the other guitar player, singer,
Yep.
had a house together for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And we were just listening to a lot of stuff like Pup and like Waves and a lot of punk rock, and we just all were like wanting to write that kind of music, something a little like faster, a little more high energy. We had been in like kind of previous bands that were like leaning a little more indie rock, or whatever. We'd been doing kind of different stuff over the past couple of years, and we just kind of were drinking one night and we're like, hey, do you want to start jamming this kind of stuff again? And so we were like, yeah, absolutely. So we pretty much all three of us immediately went down to the basement and started writing. And then we were looking for a drummer. We had like auditioned a couple people, and Stefan had played in a band previously with Duncan and Paul, and had played in a band previously with me and Duncan. And so he just felt like a natural fit, but we did have to like convince him a little bit to come play with us. So it started off just being like, well, why don't you just come down? You'll just drum while we write and stuff. We'll have a couple beers. And that turned into him being our drummer however many years later still.
Sweet. Why does everyone always need a drummer?
Right.
Because as musicians, we hate fucking sound machines, and we would prefer that at least somebody is actually making the music.
I just feel like there's so many people that want to be a drummer, yet we lack drummers out there.
Yeah.
I was actually Screaming at Traffic today, and I recognized that as a drummer, I would really love to just pull off the 4-0 fucking one somewhere, bang on the fucking drums for like, you know, I don't know, 30 or 40 minutes, wait for traffic to disperse, and then make my way home. That would be a really healthy alternative to going to the bar.
They need to make like a mini kit that snaps into your vents.
Right.
Yeah, that's super safe.
Well, when you're screaming at traffic.
With all the gadgets and gizmos I got in my fucking truck already, I really don't think I need more things to look at. Yeah, I'm gonna record this. Oops, I'm in the back end of a fucking transport. Oops.
So, you guys have that new album coming out.
Yeah.
You said May 24?
May 2024. We haven't
May
officially announced the release date yet. We're going to be
Okay.
announcing that shortly in the next couple of weeks. But our second album's called, like I mentioned before, with our naming conventions being kind of riffs on inside jokes and stuff like that. The second album's called If You Play These Songs at a Party, You'll Bum Everyone Out. And we just released the first track off of that record on March 1. You can hear it everywhere you listen to music. It's called Talkin' No Crush. We got a music video for it too that came out the same day. And yeah, we're just really stoked to get some more music out there, especially since the last, full release that we had was back in 2019.
And now, do you guys get a factor grant for videos?
We didn't on this one. We do get some funding here and there for stuff, but we try and still do stuff as DIY as possible. So Paul, our bass player, did some work in the film industry here in Winnipeg for a little while.
Yeah.
So he's actually been kind of doing a few of like he's done the last couple videos and is going to be doing the next one that is soon to be announced. We just try and be, as self-sufficient as we can.
Like the YBF video.
The YBF video, we did actually hire somebody for that. A really great film person here called Nick Herzog. He's done some work for other bands like Elder Abuse and Broken Nose Mall Santa and stuff. So a couple other bands here around Manitoba. And that was kind of like our first big video that we had done as a band. So we really wanted to like bring somebody in and kind of like, have it look really nice and like have it scripted and have somebody who like really knew what they were doing at the time to put it together.
Very cool. And speaking of other Canadian bands and Manitoba bands, we're going to play that quick track you were talking about, Breathing In.
Yeah. In the last combo we were having, you guys asked about like another Canadian band that I had been like listening to or a track to play, and they're a band from Toronto called Life in Vacuum, and the tune "Breathing In" has just been popping up for me a lot lately. They're on tour right now, and I know that they're gonna be, depending on when this comes out, it'll be in a couple weeks, but they're coming to Winnipeg at the beginning of April, so looking really forward to that show. That's a cool Canadian band I've been listening to a bit lately.
All right, here it is.
Just to try,
that was Life in Vacuum called Breathing In. Going on tour. You haven't, you said you haven't decided for promoting the new album, West or East Coast. Planning on sleeping in anyone's basement?
Yeah, I mean, we're open for pretty much whatever. We are going on some tours that we're going to be announcing in the next little bit, just over the year. Nothing as ambitious as like our 6 week tour in 2019, but still getting out there and like, going east and going west and, hopefully going south and stuff to, play and bring this record on the road and stuff. So yeah, really looking forward to it. We just we're not officially announced anything yet, but I know that that's going to be coming in the next couple weeks. Definitely going to be hitting Ontario on the way out to Pooza in May. So
Yeah.
if you're listening from the Ontario area, keep your eyes peeled.
I'll check my air mattress this time. Put a patch in it for you. Yeah, I don't know if it was like that before or what, but do you guys no, but do you guys try to find like places to crash in people's houses? Like, would you prefer that, or would you guys rather just put up the money for a hotel?
I mean, I feel like there's like two versions of that answer. I think, yeah, if in a perfect world we would be able to like, spring for hotels or Airbnbs more often. But it is fun to like, crash at people's places and like get to know the people that you're like playing with or playing for and stuff like that. Obviously, as we get a little bit older, it gets a little bit harder and harder to like crash on couches and stuff like that. But
Ugh, yeah.
we've gotten pretty good at
You got to
a
take a
couple of
fucking
us,
chiropractor with you.
yeah, a couple of us have gotten like cots and stuff like that that we can bring on the road and bust out. So
I
there's
feel
always,
old just talking about it.
yeah, yeah.
I can imagine too some people that want to, have you crash on their couch or whatever. They want to party all night, party all
That
day.
is definitely something that has happened before, like
Yeah.
you don't want to be rude, right? Because somebody's nice enough to let you crash on the couch, but you're like, oh man, like I'm halfway through a run here, and like if I'm doing this every night, it's gonna be a real long run.
Yeah, you gotta sleep and hit the road, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
How old are you, pal?
Me, I am 33.
You're fucking half our age.
You're young. That's why you have the energy.
What are
Yeah.
you? What are you this year? Like 45 or something?
44 this year.
Oh, Jesus, you're old too. I'll be
Um,
38 this year.
Nice.
I think. Wait, 86. Jesus, you were born in the 90s.
Yeah, 1990.
Huh.
I'm right on that cusp.
that was a good decade.
What cusp?
Like that from just just barely made it out of the 80s.
Uh,
The 80s was fine.
you know what?
Yeah.
It's really refreshing to see the young generation playing fucking punk rock. I'm
Yeah,
not a
there's
gatekeeper or anything like that. I'm just saying it's really good. It's
yeah,
really
yeah.
good to see it
There's
carrying
a
on.
ton of I've noticed since the pandemic, like since stuff has opened up again, you know, being in our 30s and playing, I'm not somebody who's like, oh, we're like too old to be doing it, because we're not. And I don't think that is a real statement. But there's been like a lot of really young bands, like early 20s and stuff, like really playing a lot of like punk and metal and emo and stuff, kind of like all popped out after everything opened up. And Winnipeg's got like this great scene of like new bands coming out that's like really, really awesome to see.
That's
And I've kind
great.
of seen that trend since we've toured um, outside, like on the other side of like the pandemic and stuff like that. Just all these cities seem to have these like younger bands coming in, and like it's just great. I love seeing like these people like coming up and you know playing punk rock and playing metal and getting,
Shaping the new scene.
yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's funny because I do see a lot of bands, that'll play Toronto and you know, indie bands that they'll say, yeah, we're going across Canada and we're from Vancouver or wherever, right? Um But like, are these bands not stopping in Winnipeg?
I mean, Winnipeg's been doing not terrible for itself lately. We've got a couple great promoters locally. There's Ninja Cat Productions, which is Corey, who's been great to us, who's brought in like all sorts of like metal and punk rock. He books at a venue called the Park Theater as well. And he brought, I mean, when we opened up for Hot Water Music, that was, through Corey, who had booked us as the opener. Same with Good Riddance and stuff. So
Oh, did
there's,
Good Riddance make a stop there?
yeah. And actually, that 6-week tour that I was talking about in 2019,
Yeah.
our homecoming show was opening up for Good Riddance at the Park Theater.
Oh, no shit. One of my favorite bands.
Yeah, it was great. It was awesome to play with them.
Yeah. Fuck, no kidding.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
it'd be really neat to get like a good just a really good independent scene, even from outside of Winnipeg, because I know there's bands, even if they're 3 hours away, just to try to just to get something going to.
yeah. And like I said, like there's Real Love, which does, they dabble in punk a little bit. When Pew 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 came out and we played with Pew Pew Pew, it was Real Love that brought them out. They also brought out like Mall Crimes, which are, another great band. Corey, like I mentioned, has brought out like Good Riddance, Hot Water Music, Single Mothers. Of course, I'm just naming the shows that he brought out that we played. But
Yeah.
and then there's also like a great like outfit of, like a couple of the younger generation, and like a few people who have been around for a while, and a couple of people who have like kind of gotten into the scene after the pandemic, called like Winnipeg Hardcore. And they're like doing like straight up hardcore, like 1980s style hardcore shows in like a basement of a bowling alley in St. James. And they've been bringing in great shows. So there's a lot of really cool stuff going on.
Awesome. Well, I'm still hoping to make it out to Winnipeg by at least the fall, I hope.
Yeah, it's always a good time.
I think my buddy's still playing in one of his cover bands out there, Black Lights.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah, which is where I met Duncan.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So that'd be cool. Just waiting for Johnny. I don't know where he went. Oh, here he comes. Wait till he gets back here, so I don't have to edit him out. I mean, edit him in. All right. Woohoo! All right.
What I miss?
Oh, we were just talking about
You're just talking about me?
Winnipeg and stuff and the scene.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's play one of your newer tracks off your album. Or not this is Takano gonna be on your new album?
Yeah. Takano Crush is the lead single off the album. So it's the first
Right.
one we're hearing from the new record.
Right. It's New Year that was put off before. That was written in 2021.
Takano Crutch.
Yeah, New Year was released in 2022, and yeah, Takano Crush. It's an anime reference.
Oh,
I think Duncan's a big anime fan, so he always tries to slip one of those in whenever we're naming songs.
All right. Do you want me to play that now?
yep.
Let's play that now, and we'll be right back.
Across 3 houses that were never mine, I'll bet you can likely find
Nakano by Screaming at Traffic. That is their new single off their new album. And the new album, again, what's it called?
If you play these songs at a party, you'll bum everyone out.
Which is what Jacques loves doing,
Yeah.
if I
Yeah.
remember correctly.
It's funny. It's we the name, like I mentioned kind of earlier, is based off of like a bit of an inside joke. There was a while where we were at parties and my wife, I would put on like a punk's album or emo stuff, and at one point she would always go like, "Oh, we're not gonna listen to your like sad boy shit all night." All right? And I was like, "Oh my God, that's like a perfect idea for a name for an album." Or that I pitched it to the guys, and I think it started as a joke, and it just kind of stuck. And now we're like super stoked to have it named the record after it. Also, very easy target for critics.
Oh, sure.
So yeah, what were you putting on? Like Hear You Me, Jimmy Eat World?
Yeah, just whatever I was
Yeah.
listening to at the time. It'd be like pop or modern baseball or whatever. It's all stuff that she likes as well, but just
Not the right place.
be listening to the whole time.
Yeah.
It's not exactly a get psyched mix.
Yeah. By the time like I'm throwing American football on, everyone's like, "All right, buddy, your privileges are revoked."
Yep.
Yeah, you're out. When you got back from tour, did you wash all your guitars?
What?
Yeah. I tried to give it a good cleaning every once in a while. You know, it's inevitable by the end of tour that like all your stuff, half of it's covered in beer or
Oh
bar floor gunk. So
man, we saw Off With Their Heads not too long ago in Toronto.
Yes.
Man, that one
was a great
guy's
show.
guitar was
Oh yeah.
oh,
It's like
just
coated.
caked.
I was like, hey, ew.
Oh,
Ugh.
you could see stuff.
That made me
growing
want
on
to
it.
put on a mask.
Yeah.
It's like, this is nasty.
Yeah.
Breathing in that.
yeah,
Which that was the band when they were on Hastings in Vancouver, leaving a venue, and
Oh, yeah, they got
I got that girl
they
that
got that accident, didn't they?
she jaywalked and
Fucking
through
dragged
the
her for like 30
trailer.
blocks or something.
yeah. It was tragic.
Yeah,
Was that them?
that was them. Yeah,
Oh shit.
Yeah.
I knew there was a connection in there somewhere.
yeah, and we were talking about venues, the Logan and the Red something. on
Yeah,
Hastings.
Redgate Society and Logan's are both places we've played in Vancouver. Both great places. I don't think there's very many venues that we've played. Like most venues that we play are just honestly fantastic. We've always had like kind of a blast. You know, it's hard to have a bad time when you're like playing music with your buddies. So
I just opened my buddy's album right in front of me that I haven't opened in like a many years. Check this out. I'm pretty sure it was packaged with sand. Like, you see this? It's fucked. Can you see that?
yeah.
Oh, that sucks. Oh, that was a good album too. Oh, that sucks. Oh well.
So you never really had to skip a show because you were sketched out by Bad Neighborhood?
No. Honestly, like we have yet to be in a situation where we really were like, oh man, we like cannot be here or we can't stay here. That might be because half the time we're like so beat by the end of it, we'll sleep anywhere. But you know, I felt mostly just welcomed everywhere we've kind of played and been.
Right
So.
on. Yeah. Have you guys toured at all in the US, or you just got as far as getting your visa?
We just got as far as booking it and then having it all canceled in 2020. We are like we are planning on getting back down there again. It's just you know, after the pandemic, we were like kind of trying to find our footing a little bit and like get new music out, start getting back out onto the road again and stuff like that. So that's why we're so stoked now that it's 2024 to get like the ball rolling on this new record, start doing some dates out again, playing Pooza Fest, and just, you know, getting new music out there.
You think there was an expectations for bands formed before 2020, at least 3 to 5 years before, at minimum, that being dormant for so long and not being able to tour, that there was new material?
A little bit. I think it's such a
Did
weird.
you feel that pressure, or did you just do it because you were going to do it?
I think we just did it because we were going to do it. And I know, like, I don't think there was a right way or a wrong way to like kind of deal with everything that was going on as far
Yeah.
as like, being creative. I know because I know that there were tons of bands that were doing way more, doing live shows and like doing very nice recordings or writing full records during the pandemic and releasing records during the pandemic. But for us, I just don't think we were like in the creative space to do it.
Yeah.
Duncan and I did a couple of those like live concerts on like Instagram Live, Facebook Live. I think you
Right.
could
Right.
still find them where we partnered with like the Hamburg Blues Cruise Festival and like International Musicians, International Independent Musicians Guild of um I can't remember, but I think that was based out of New Jersey. We did a couple for Pooza Fest, a couple locally too. And that was kind of our way to like kind of stay connected. I also had done like an acoustic show as part of a charity for at the time they were called Girl Rock Winnipeg. Now they're called We Rock Winnipeg.
Yep.
It's like a rock camp for women, non-binary, trans folk. As part of, I guess, like not the payment, but I guess something that they did was they had the sound person record everything.
Yep.
So we were sitting on these like acoustic performance recordings of me doing a bunch of like acoustic versions of Screaming at Traffic songs that we like released in the pandemic. And that was kind of our way. But as far as, creative output, I don't necessarily feel during the pandemic that I was in that space. I know
Yeah.
that a lot of people were. I know a lot of people did even less, and all of that's fine. It's just for us. I think I was more in the moment of watching all these plans kind of fall away one by one, and then when they
Yeah.
were all gone, kind of like dealing with, I guess, to be totally honest, like the grief of those
Yeah.
kind of going away.
Did that give you more of an inspiration? Have you got more things to share musically than, how did that shape your creativity those
I think
4 years?
I think it did quite a bit because I know that as soon as we got kind of like back into a room together, we like started really wanting to get back into the studio right away. We started writing a lot of stuff. We kind of went through just recently a bunch of like recordings that we have. Uh, so like already working on new music. And I think it's just it was, you grow a lot in 4 years in a weird way. And you kind of get like a different perspective. I think that one of the obviously not to like downplay the effects of what happened, but like it was also a chance to like kind of slow down and take everything in and kind of like look at what you have in life and stuff and be like, all right, well, like, yeah, I'm always go, go, go in music, which is kind of like just what's expected. You're always kind of chasing that next thing, just out of necessity. But I think having a forced moment to slow down also kind of gave, at least in my case, a little bit of perspective. And again, that's not to like downplay any of the terrible shit that happened over the past 4 years, but I think it was just
What was the worst part of that 4 years for you?
well, I was
Other
working.
than perhaps, as you already mentioned, canceling all those plans.
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
necessarily musically. Personally, what was the worst part of those 4 years?
I think, well, I was working in the music industry. Like I work in the music industry as well. So like I was very lucky to be able to continue working remotely. But at the same time, there was no like reprieve from it at any point. Like I
Mhm.
was, dealing with the band stuff. So that was always like front of mind. And then I would go and like every conversation at work was dominated by like this, what are the solutions? When is this going to end? This is terrible. And then my wife works in healthcare.
Yeah,
So
mine
that
too.
was like another like level of it, right?
Yeah.
Where there was just no, it was just all encompassing. There was no getting away from it. There was no like, okay, well, at least I could dive into work because
It
work,
becomes the conversation.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that was it for me personally.
Mine was like waiting for fucking 3 hours for like a $5 order at Home Depot in front of like 20 other people just to get the fucking materials I need to get done that day.
Yeah, yeah, no kidding.
Excuse me.
In the rain.
Well, I have, a vehicle or whatever, but
Oh yeah. Well, not all places.
I'm not one of the, you know, migrant help that stays in front of Home Depot looking for work.
No, for me it was like the beer store,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's true.
right? Go to
What's
like
your
a
equivalent to the beer store out there? Because you don't have like the beer store.
We have vendors which sell beer, coolers, stuff like that. There's there usually have to be there's like some weird rules with them, but they're usually open till like 2.
Oh yeah.
And we have the liquor mart, which is like a provincial overseen kind of place, and that's where you can buy like hard liquor, beer, wine, stuff like that.
LCBO or the BC liquor store.
Yeah, it's basically it's pretty close to like an LCBO.
Now your vendors, they're attached to bars,
Yeah, bars and
which is
hotels.
why they can stay open till far out.
Oh yeah. So in Vancouver it was the same thing. They have a mix of both, but they had off sales too. So yeah, they can, sell you a fucking 6 pack of kokanee for $3 each at 2 o'clock in the morning
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
with a bag of chips, with an
Yeah,
overinflated bag of chips, and I'm not talking about the amount of air.
yeah.
No, there was this place out just outside of Winnipeg that my friend Matt Rock always wanted to take me to. You go out back there and you go into like a custodian place and you pull a broom handle and it's like a fucking club in the basement.
Really?
Yeah, yeah, it's I think it's called the basement.
You're not allowed to say it.
Apparently, there's quite a few of these in Winnipeg.
Is that right?
Yeah, I'm sure there's some in Toronto. I just don't know about them.
Speakeasies and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
Cool stuff.
Yeah. No, anyway, I wanted to say, a lot of people talk bad about Winnipeg. I don't know. I think it's a pretty cool place.
Yeah, yeah. I've always said that Winnipeg, I think, punches above its weight. Like in terms of population, the amount of like music that comes out of here, not just punk rock, but I mean punk rock alone, you've got like Comeback Kid, Propagandhi, The Weaker Thans, like all sorts of great bands, Moby Galore. But like in other genres too, like country, indie, folk, pop, there's so much great stuff. Um, yeah, I really do love Winnipeg.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought it was pretty cool. I mean, the city's not crazy like Toronto, but
Spoken
Yeah.
like a true victim of Stockholm syndrome.
it's a cool place.
I think I've only been like once traveling through.
I went to a Jets game.
Yeah, those are pretty fun.
I don't like sports. No, I'm just kidding. I like the Leafs. That's about it.
I truly do not like sports.
I know you don't.
Are you a
Oh,
sports
man.
fan?
You're more true to our first album than we are.
You a sports fan?
Just hockey, and like not like a super intense. Like I don't watch every game, but I during the playoffs I'll start tuning in.
Jets, I assume.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Jets, or just because my dad's from Montreal, I gotta I gotta hold up the torch for the Habs.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, at least we have something in common. We probably both hate the Bruins.
Yeah, exactly.
Now you guys are putting me to sleep.
Yeah, all right. Well, I think we touched base on everything. We can wrap up with you know what? We're gonna play New Year. You mentioned playing YBF again, but we've actually played YBF on this podcast already.
Sure, we did.
In season 1.
Yes.
I was thinking, is it Pantomime?
Yeah, Pantomime. That's a great.
I love that song too. I mean, like I said before, the whole first album's fantastic. The new one, which I've heard a sneak peek of, which I really want to put in a high rotation on my Apple iTunes, but I have to wait until it's fully released, which I can't wait for.
Yeah.
Coming around May 24, TBA. Yeah, I can't wait for that. So, yeah. And yeah, if anyone has anything else to say or questions,
I attended Juilliard.
Yeah, if you want to check out what we're up to, you can check us out on Instagram, Facebook, anywhere you stream music. We're gonna have a couple dates announced soon for tour. We're dropping a new album in May. I don't. If you play these songs at a party, you'll bum everyone out. And we got some probably some new stuff coming in between now and the release of that. So keep your eyes and ears peeled. And thanks again, guys.
Cool, man.
Yeah, that's Screaming at Traffic Music anywhere on social media.
Nice
Mhm.
meeting you for absolutely the first time ever tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Nice to meet you too, man.
Yeah. Thank you guys. And here is New Year and Pantomime by Screaming at Traffic. We'll talk to you guys soon.
Peace.